Hello, my name is Lauren Hansen and my pronouns are she, her. Today I'll be talking about my Capstone project with you, Consignment Queen, a web application used to automate consignment accounting for Utah's only LGBTQ specific bookstore under the umbrella. I was born and raised in Salt Lake City, Utah. As an undergraduate, I studied metallurgical engineering. And prior to enrolling full-time in the MST program, I worked in high-volume semiconductor manufacturing for approximately 6 years in a process engineering, equipment engineering, and technical leadership capacity. I took one required computer science class as an undergraduate, taught by Dave from the MST faculty team. It really piqued my interest and curiosity in computer science, and I've always desired to continue my education since. For my capstone project, it was really important for me to work with a local nonprofit, organization, or small business whose mission resonated with me. In life, I think relationships are everything. Truly connecting with and building community is important to me in my personal life and professionally as an engineer. Now let's jump into the details. I'd like to give you some background on what led me to selecting this project. The billboard image shown here, which reads, "Knowledge was a strength even when it hurt," from the novel The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr., is a novel that explores themes of love, oppression, resilience, and experiences of Black queer individuals in the antebellum South in the United States. For Pride Month in 2022, Penguin Random House installed billboards like the one you see here, with quotes from LGBTQ books in states that have seen an increase in anti-LGBTQ bans and legal challenges, such as Florida's Don't Say Gay education bill. According to PEN America, a 501c3 organization that works at the intersection of literature and human rights to protect free expression in the United States and worldwide, the 2022 and 2023 school year has been marked to date by an escalation of book bans and censorship in classrooms and school libraries across the United States. The majority of these bans focus on censorship of themes centered around race, history, sexual orientation, and gender. Unfortunately, these bans and legal challenges are also taking place in Utah. This year, the Utah governor signed a bill that bans gender-affirming care for transgender youth. And in 2022, Utah State Legislature House Bill 374 passed, which was sponsored by Representative Ken Ivory and Senator Todd Wheeler. Across 17 of Utah's largest school districts, impacting 70% of students statewide K through 12, 262 books were banned in 2022. This is concerning to me. I reached out to Utah's one and only LGBTQ specific bookstore under the umbrella to better understand technical needs they had that intersected with the skill set I've gained through the MSD program. Something unique about this bookstore is that they're almost completely run by volunteers from the community. So improving efficiency in the work they do can open up time for volunteers to work on other valuable tasks. After meeting with the Under the Umbrella team multiple times, we determined that they had 3 primary projects they could use help with. Number 1, automating their monthly consignment accounting. 2, transitioning their mobile web app from Wix to Square platform. 3, automating book pricing updates in their point of sale system. I've spent the majority of the semester focusing on projects 1 and 2, and I'll walk you through project number 1 in more detail today. The overall goal of the project was to build a user-friendly web application that required little to no maintenance and or setup on their end, meaning it wouldn't require them to download any new software on the computers in the bookstore or require them to do updates or pay money for any services. So everything I needed to run the web app, I wanted in my source code. I used HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The first initial hurdle was finding a CSV parsing library that could be accessed with just the addition of a script tag in my code. With Ben's help, and after trying to use multiple different parsers, I chose to use the JavaScript CSV parsing library PapaParse. The database used was Firestore, and the web application will use Firebase for authentication and be hosted on GitHub pages for Under the Umbrella to use. The PapaParse library has easy-to-use methods such as parse, which takes a CSV file and parses it into JSON objects. These objects can then be manipulated as needed, and the unparse method can eventually be called on your array of JSON objects, and it will output a properly formatted CSV string. For me, this was useful because my web application needed to read in a summary of monthly consignment sales from a CSV file, perform a series of calculations with that information, and then produce multiple output CSV files. The Firestore database I used is a NoSQL database. Different from the SQL relational database work we did last summer, in a NoSQL database, data can be stored in many different ways. And while in SQL relational databases, data normalization is important, meaning each piece of data only exists in one place in the database, this is not the case for a NoSQL database. Objects are stored in a tree-like hierarchical structure made up of documents and collections. Documents are similar to JSON objects or dictionaries. They consist of key value pairs, which are referred to as fields in Cloud Firestore. The values of these fields can be many different things. Collections are like a hash or a dictionary where the values are always some kind of a document. So for example, my web application, I have a collection of artists. Each artist is represented by a document, and each document has data relevant to that specific artist. From a high level, here's a pseudocode layout of the web application's actions. The app first authenticates the user. Then it handles file selection and upload button listeners. It parses the input file that's been uploaded with consignment sales data from the previous month. It then outputs a summary of the input file into the user interface. It outputs a summary of all the sales for the month of interest in the user interface. It automatically downloads relevant invoices for payment to consignment artists for the previous month that the store can print out and mail to artists. And throughout this process, it reads and writes from the database as relevant, storing and updating payment data relevant to each consignment artist. Due to sensitive financial information displayed when using the web app, I'll show you some screenshots of how the web app operates rather than a live demo. Some portions are redacted for privacy. After authentication takes place, the web app appears as shown. The user can click the Choose File button, then the Upload button. There, summary tables load into the user interface. One is a summary of the file uploaded, one is a summary of the sales relevant to the store, and one is a summary of sales by artist. Simultaneously, invoices are generated and downloaded for sales relevant to that month per artist that are then printed out and mailed to the artist along with payment. This task is typically completed manually using Google Sheets and takes several hours. With the use of the web application tool, the task is completed within a matter of minutes. Moving forward, I plan to continue refining the web application. I will be meeting with Under the Umbrella's consignment volunteer to train them on using the web application, as well as continue to support them in the coming months as bugs are found, as well as to optimize the web application to best meet their needs. Additionally, I'll continue to be a volunteer on their website team, and I'll begin to work on project number 3, automating book pricing updates in their point of sale system. Thank you for taking the time to participate in my presentation. I'm really grateful I chose the MSD program and for the connections I've made with the MSD faculty and my classmates. A special thank you to Ben for advising me on this project. I hope to stay connected with all of you personally and professionally. Thank you so much.